Welcome to USMLE SART. We are committed to empowering IMGs. We're excited to guide you on your match journey. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get notified whenever we add new content. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the latest tips and tricks regarding everything USMLE. Now, let's dive into it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on your time zones. So today's webinar with USMLE Sarthi, it is about your financial planning for the upcoming match. So for those of you primarily going into the match next season or the season after, we have a host of speakers who will talk about how much does this journey actually cost. So whether it is your ECFMG exams, certifications, rotations, research, all of that, match planning, strategy. How much does it cost? How can you optimize it? And how can you make the best out of that? So we have several speakers today. Our current students, match students, our panelists, attendings, those who have gone through this journey over the years, and we'll have them all speak about it. In terms of a bit of a housekeeping, so you can ask questions in the chat. I will take those questions as they come. And please be aware that these panelists are obviously very busy. Some of them are working, some of them are residents, some of them are preparing for the match season. So, they are preparing for their interviews. So they may not stay for the entire duration. With that, let us get started. And our first speaker is Anupam Deep Pannu. Now, Anupam is our student, and Anupam, welcome. So, probably maybe introduce yourself a bit, and then let's talk about the cost associated with the math journey from your perspective.
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Anupam Deepanu, and I'm a Sathi student. I started my math journey in 2020, and I applied for 2024 cycle this year. So I'm here to talk about all the costs associated with USMLE journey, starting from when you think about going into USMLEs. So I will start from the very start. I was there 2 years ago when I initially thought about it. So I would say that on the total, the whole process might take somewhere between 20,000 to maybe 30,000, depending what your budget is or how far you're willing to go. When I thought about starting it, first of all, the U-Word subscriptions, they first you take them. It's you must all be aware of that process. If you get a 6 month subscription for step one, it's around $475, which I recommend because in the long way it is cheaper than to take a shorter subscription and then try to renew it. It takes more. And after you have prepared for, you think you're ready, you take a couple of NBMEs, which also cost money. I would recommend take them offline. Just take the latest ones online. When you are ready to submit your application for step one with all the documents, ECFMG charges $75 as a medical education credentials verification fee. If your medical degree is not in English language, then it would need to be translated, and ECFMG will have their own translation services, and you will have to pay for them. In my case, my degree was not in English language, so I paid $250 as a translation fee. After this, the step one fee is $1,000, and then when we are ready to take, we book our prometric centers. Sometimes we are not ready when the date comes. We might want to extend, and that also costs money. So my recommendation will be to see if you need to reschedule it 46 days before your exam. Then it won't cost you anything. But if you are doing it after less than 46 days, it will cost you, depending on how close to your actual exam you are rescheduling. It could be $35 up to $100. And After you are done with step 1, step 2 fee is also $1,000, and the same process applies as far as the prometrics go. If you are a new grad, you would obviously want to apply after step 1 and step 2. But if you are an old grad and you would want step 3 as well to be done before applying, then you will have to be ECFMG certified. ECFMG certification fee is $160. But before you can certify for it, you will have to clear the OET exam, which is a substitute for step 2 CS, as you all might be knowing. And that fee is $455. And after that, when you're ready for your step 3, that step 3 fee is $925. And when you apply for ECFMG, when you're applying for the pathway, depending on your pathway, which pathway you're going for, you will have to pay that fee. My pathway was pathway 1 since I have practiced medicine in India. So I paid $925 for my pathway approval fee to ECFMG. And after that, I bought my ERAS token, which was $165. If some programs will also need NRMP token, which is $70. And then you submit your ERAS application. There is $85 fee from ECFMG for your document verification as well. So after all that, you can apply to as many programs as you want. And for first 11 programs, the fee is, the first 30 programs, the fee is $11 for one specialty. If you go over 30, then there is $30 per program. And then after, and same goes for different specialties. So you apply to as many or as much or as less programs as you want. In all these fee, I did not include the research or rotation fee. So that is extra. For rotations, it is, again, depending on the budget. You can go with Sarthi, or you can find some local program, $2,000 to $3,000 or $5,000. If you also include research, so research fee will be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000. So this is on top, research and rotations both. So all this total will come out to be, I would say, close to 20,000 or more.
Sorry, I was on mute. So Anupamdeep, this is a very good overview of the cost. Now, in terms of savings, where all did you have some tips, whether it is food, accommodation, things like that, where students can probably save some money?
Yes. So for the saving, I would say, in my case, I try to, since I am living in the US, I'm a resident, so I didn't have to do the traveling part or accommodation part. But for the students who are flying here from other countries, I won't be able to share much. But I would say that there are places, there's Airbnb they can stay at as far as accommodation goes. And if you are local, then if the programs you are going to rotate or interview on, if they are, I would say, less than 6 to 8 hours drive, it's cheaper to drive there than to fly there. Because if you fly there, you are still paying for the flight, for the hotel, for the Uber, because you won't have your own car when you get there. So driving will be cheaper if the radius of your area is between 6 to 8 hours from where you are.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Anupamdeep. Appreciate your time and very detailed breakdown of the cost. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And our next speaker is Pratiksha. So Pratiksha, let me see. Yes. Hi, Pratiksha. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Pavan?
Very good. Very good. So why don't you introduce yourself? And of course, I know you wanted to speak about key challenges and how you overcame in your journey. So why don't you start with the introductions and some good news?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Pratiksha and I'm an IMG from India. So I graduated last year and I applied this cycle. And I was lucky enough to pre-match soon. within the first 2 weeks of the math cycle. So all that 2 years of hustle and studying, constant exams, research, everything paid off soon for me. So that's the best part of this year. And I would like to shed light on the challenges that I faced. My journey becomes a bit unique from others because I am one of the first students from my med school to apply for USMLE. So when you're one of the first from your med school, you have no seniors to guide, you have no connections, you have to actively build on them. You have to deal with the administration from your med school, which is like one of the biggest hurdles. For me, it was the major hurdle, then, studying for the exams became easy later. So, like in these cases, I would say search for a mentor, not from your school, maybe somewhere outside, your friends, your relatives, anyone. You can find someone. Today, we have LinkedIn, Instagram, you can find people there. I found my mentors very late in the journey when I was done with my step two. And I found an immense difference how it changed my journey, because if I had that guidance since my step one, because I started researching through the resources and everything from the scratch. And if I had someone to guide me how to study on the things from the start, how to make your notes, flashcards, and everything, I feel it would have been like a lot easier, and I could have applied the previous math cycle. So that is one thing. Then I would say, in terms of cost, focus on the resources that are high yield. You don't have to, go through all the resources that are available on the internet. Just focus on UWorld, NBMEs, the gold resources, and you are good to go for the exam. Then one hidden cost that I would say that doesn't apply for all is some colleges, as I'm familiar to India, have the bond money. So if you're not doing the bond and paying them off, because I come from Maharashtra in India, and Maharashtra University has like 10 lakhs INR. So, and I have heard people from Chhattisgarh have 25 lakhs. So keep those costs in mind. And if you're not paying off the bond and you're completing that, then please keep the timeline in mind, because that will be a hurdle with you, as you graduate. Then some things I would like to focus on is when you apply for the programs. For IM, if you search, there are more than 400 programs. And it just doesn't make sense for me, to apply to Harvard or, like these big places. I am doing a research position at a big university, but I did not apply there because I know the stats here. For IMGs, like from peripheral medical colleges, the stats say my chance is very, very less, even though I'm doing a research position here. So I would advise research on the programs beforehand to save your money. And the other thing that I would say, I bought the NRMP token early. It's $70, but I don't need it now. I had to withdraw from the NRMP match. So these things you can buy your NRMP token late. Then I would like to say that you always have to balance between your cost and priorities. Like I would say for me, paying off the bond was much more beneficial because I would save a year. I would not be a older graduate. So I preferred paying off the bond. And I would advise people, balance your timeline and years and how much time you have in your hand, and balance it that way. Then I would say, for a research position, rotations come before, then research. Your clinical experience will be valued more before than any, research position. The research position are also here unpaid and paid. 90% of the research positions initially will be unpaid. You have to manage your expenses as per that. You may get paid later, maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line. But I still know people here, being unpaid since 2 years. So, and you don't really know you'll match or not. And then we have, such rules like 2 year home country return rule. So we cannot even leave those research positions. So, look after which country you come from, your visa rules and everything, so things get smoother and you are not surprised on your way. Then I would also like to shed light on preparing for residency interviews. So I would say the best people are the people because these people can give you inputs on how you can frame your answers. The residents who have already been through this process I took help from USMLE Sarthi. I had, some professors helping me here. Then you could also, do your interviews with, you can find applicants, via various WhatsApp groups, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can just, email them if they are up for a mock interview, and anyone would be, happy to help you. Then I would say find a mentor as soon as possible. Anyone who has matched, that is going to change your journey like so immensely, and I would say your speed and pace would increase. Like I got USMLE Sarthi, I got some mentors when I did my rotations, and yeah, that is how I would say mentors, costs, research, rotations, and above all comes the marks. Because if you have low marks, although you can overcome that with other things, but marks should be your first priority, steps before everything. Yeah.
So, a couple of questions, because I have seen them in the chat also. So, you obviously CK scores are very important, like you said, right? They come before everything else. And you also made an important point that US clinical experience has to be before research. USCE is more important, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, of course, there will be questions for you. How did you find full-time research position as a graduate? So, there's a question someone wants to know.
Yeah, sure. So the full-time research position, I would, firstly give, what should I say, highlight that it's tough to find, because I would say like in previous years, maybe 5, 6 years before, research was not that important. But in these years, as match has gone so competitive, everyone wants to do research and everyone is doing it, and so we always have to be upfront and look for these positions. The first and the most common thing is cold emailing, and trust me, you can cold email to like 500 doctors and you won't receive reply from any. And that is how I did, and I did not receive any replies, and I just stopped. I'm like, I'm done and I'm not searching for anything. But then the connections that I made during my rotations helped me get this research position via a friend who recommended me. So the recommendations, and I'll tell you, when I came here, I got to know, people from the same colleges recommend their juniors, or people you have met through LinkedIn, and you just have to just email or just message them on LinkedIn, and people will usually help. Just be upfront, message, and take the first step, because no one is going to come and give you the research position there, sitting in your home country. Email and do something on your own. If you have some background of research from your med school, as simple as something case reports, that is something you can talk about, and people will be willing to take you more than anyone else who has done nothing. So that will be very helpful in time.
Okay. And last question, how did you use Sarthi resources? How was that helpful to you?
Okay, so I bought Sarthi like quite early, but then because I was up with my own things, I started using the resources late, which I think was something I did wrong. I should have used these resources early, because I was so busy in exam prep and everything. But anyhow, it turned good. So I had the help from the CV editing, inputs on how can I improve my CV. Then I had my first mock with them before my actual interview, and the inputs I got, as basic as the background, that also like really helps. So anyone who is experienced and knows how, because we come from a background, we have never interviewed. Giving actual interviews is not that we do in our med school or we have been taught. We need to learn it actively, but these AMGs, they have been doing it since their med school. Even before the entry to the med school, they have been doing it. So, if we have help, we should, I believe, take that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Pratiksha. Much appreciate, and congratulations again on your
Thank you.
pre-match acceptance. And hopefully, you can wrap up your research position and enjoy a bit before you start.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavan.
All right. As we move on, I just wanted to share a couple of things because this has come up. So, first is in terms of rotations. So, I did want to show There are rotations. If you go to our website, so let's see. Yes. So on our website right here, hopefully the screen is visible. We have a list of rotations. You can go right from here, USMLESarthi.com, clinical rotations. And if you click on Sarthi rotations, you will see this list. Hopefully it is visible, and you'll see all the rotations we have. Actually, there are rotations that start from $250, $300. There are a lot of discounts many rotations are offering. So for those of you who are looking to reduce their cost, take a look. In fact, we have launched a series of new rotations, as you can see on this first page. They are called Clinica rotations. They are mostly inpatient. So a lot of you are looking for purely inpatient rotation. So you can download these, and the link will all take you to the more description. And, you can see that these are all in hospital. So hospital letterhead, like, these rotations that you can see, they will help you. These are actually names of the hospital. So go there and check it out for rotations as we launch new rotations this season. Some of them starting at $250 as well. And I think Aditi and Sejal from our team will post the link as well, and they are posting it. All right, so our next speaker is Tejasvi. So Tejasvi, let me just give you the access. So welcome, and why don't you introduce yourself, and then talk a bit about the mentorship, time management, financial management, and so on.
Thank you, Pawan. Hi, everyone. My name is Tejasvi. I am a medical graduate from India, and I matched into general surgery 2 years ago. I finished 2 years now. I've been a Sarthi student since when I started with this process. So I will talk about some basic finances, like finding places to live, how to transport and everything, because the rest of the thing have been already covered. I will also speak something specific to my specialty for people, because most people will be matching into prelim if they apply to surgery. So how to manage for further applications. So one thing I would say is about the housing thing. There are some people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, those areas, who are willing to host people coming from their home countries and around. It's difficult to find them, but I was able to for one of my rotations. If you reach out to the current residents in those hospitals, like if you go to the website and see who are the people from your country, for example, some people are even willing to host other country people, but like I said, you don't know which people is that. But if you reach out to them and ask that, hey, I'm coming for a month, will it be possible to accommodate me? Some people do it for free, some people do it for minimal cost, which is much lesser than finding a hotel or an Airbnb. So if you can reach out, that'll save a lot of money. Like, it'll take care of your accommodation in a way. So that's one way. Another thing is there are some websites like Suleika.com, or if you're in Michigan, there is MIindia.com. They give you car rentals for students for very low price, like if you're planning to drive around, which again will save a lot of money. If you have a car in your hand, you don't have to like put it on Uber or such stuff. So you can look into those websites. Like I said, as a prelim resident, you will need money to apply again, in case your program doesn't take you. So you will be getting your residency salary, which is fine, which is good amount. And I don't say don't enjoy, do enjoy, but make sure that every month you put out a certain amount in anticipation that in future you will be needing for this money to apply to other programs. And because you will already be in the system, your applications this time will be much broader than what you have already applied to. So you will obviously need to like you will be a good fit for many more programs now. So you will need more money for that. So I would say definitely save a money as a prelim resident. About finding positions, so the research positions, I would want to talk about that as well. Emailing definitely, yeah, is a thing to find those full-time research spots. But other thing is, there are some students who are research students, like we just heard from one of our panelists. Now she's a full-time research student who matched, which means her position is going to be empty now. So reach out to those people who can put in a word for you, and maybe you can get that position, because that position definitely is going to be empty given that she matched now. So that's one way of finding a research position. What I did was, when I was doing research full-time, and after I was done and were doing my rotations, I found remote research positions, which will be like, you don't have to really go to that place. You can do it while you're doing your rotations, which will add on to your CV, and you will get publications out of it. And because you're not going to that place, that kind of saves money too. That again is like, you have to email a lot of people. What I did is, this was something actually Pawan told me, that if you're nearby, you can just go and say that, hey, I'm in the city, I want to come and meet in person. And that's what I did. And I got that remote position for the research thing. Another thing is, when you're like, you can walk into clinics if you're already in the US and ask them if you want, if they'll be willing to, if you want to volunteer there or something. Some clinics are willing to take it. When you're doing those rotations, what I did is, I did a rotation for almost, like, I worked at a doctor's who is actually affiliated with Sarthi. I worked with him for almost 1.5 years before I matched. And when I was doing that, he helped me find other rotations, and I also walked to clinics. So I took 1 day off in the entire week from his clinic, and I did my rotations there. And then I did some paid rotations, for which I took leave for like a month or so. So which that helped me cover, like, I was doing 2 rotations at the same time, being in the same place, by taking 1 day off. So that's one way of finding rotations. Another thing is, if you reach out to the residents, they're all on Instagram. If you reach out to them, most residents will answer you, and you can ask, like, what's their program's agenda? Like, do they take IMGs? Do they take people from so and so university? Do they take people with these scores? So that will tell you if you are a fit for that program or not. And if you're not, you don't apply to that program. That saves you what, $20 something. So that's also a good save. And when I applied and I reached out to programs, some programs did reply that, no, I don't think you'll be a good fit for our program. And that's it. I mean, even if it's a rejection, I know that I don't have to apply to that program. That $20 I'm going to put in one other program, which probably has better chances for me. Other thing is, like, some places, for example, California, like, very difficult for IMG. So when I was applying before I joined Sarthi, I applied to a lot of California programs, and after that, I did not apply to a single California program. I mean, no offense, but they don't take IMGs, and it's waste of my money when I am like short on my budget. So I would rather apply to more New York programs, for example, or say the Philadelphian programs, where my chances are better than as compared to California, and some bigger programs like John Hopkins or Harvard, something which I know will not take me, will not interview me. So there's no point in applying to those programs, which I did before I had mentors. So coming to my point, that it's very important that you find a mentor, because when you tell them that these are the programs I'm applying to, they since they have been in this process of applications, they know if that's worth your money to put in for that program. So they will tell you. And also about the roadmap, I would say, when you're in a particular place, make sure you cover whatever is there around in those surroundings, so that you don't have to come back to that place again. Like, that will save you a lot of money in travel. And if you're coming to the US from another country, I would suggest that you take your step 3 while you're here for your rotation, so that once you're back home, God forbid you don't match this season, for the next season, you don't have to just come back for the step 3, right? You can focus on other things. Like I said, there is opportunity for remote research, which you can do. If you learn how to do research like meta-analysis or something, for example, on your own, you can do it from your home. You don't have to be in a hospital accessing the databases or anything to do that. And you can present in conferences like posters or anything. That all counts to your CV. So I would suggest to take that step 3 if you're coming from an outside country. But if you're already in the US, it depends. Like if you're short on budget, I would say you save that and put it on, like maybe apply to another program or do another rotation, and you can take step 3 when you match later on, because that I would that's my opinion, that you can do that. What else I wanted to talk about? Yeah. So another thing is, like everyone mentioned, your rotations are definitely more priority than the research thing. So I agree with it. So if you do get a research position, this is what I did when I was doing my research. Ask the PD who is doing that research that you want to accompany him to his clinic, and no one will say no. So that will give you a rotation. That will give you exposure to patient care and everything. So you can mention it in your CV as a rotation, not just as a research. So that's another way to add to your rotations if you do find a research position. Yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to cover.
Thank you, Tejasvi. This is great. One question I do have is, so after say you match in advance and all of that, the stipend, if you will, the stipend they offer, is it enough to survive?
That's a good question, Pavan. I would say for us, like Indians and all, like for most people who do not have a huge student loan on us, most of us don't. Like, I don't say everyone doesn't, but most of us don't have a huge student loan like people in America do. You can live comfortably on a resident salary. Like, you can live real comfortable life. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because we get a lot of questions like this, how will I survive and all. But I think they do it by state, and depending on the state, you're right. So it is, you can manage it, right? I mean, it's very manageable.
Definitely. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate Tejasvi. And as always, you took time out of your busy schedule being a surgery resident. I know how hard it is. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Before I move on to Paresh, again, a couple of things I wanted to show you. Many of you have asked us about our campus ambassador program. So we do have an ambassador program where we can help you as well. It's free to you. You don't have to pay anything. So go to usmlesarthi.com/ambassador if you are interested. So obviously we will help you, we will guide you. You can get referral discounts. There's a form to be filled up, fill it up. And, in return, of course, we'll want you to promote USMLE in your colleges, in your schools, in your network. So there's a big campus ambassador program that you can look at. And also for those of you interested in the upcoming match season, which is the 2026, we are starting. There is actually, let me see, this is rotation. So there is a big discount going on if you join early. So go to this page, Residency Match 2026, usmlesarthi.com, and Sejal will put the link. So on our platinum, gold, and bronze plans, there are discounts. There is something called Bridge to Residency where you can combine the rotations and get that discount. So you can actually save costs if you, do rotations, research, and the match plan. So if you take all of this 3 or 2, there are savings to be had. I just thought I'll let you know. Okay, so our next speaker is Paresh. Welcome, Paresh. Why don't you introduce yourself? You've been a star from last year, given the struggles of your match. So why don't you tell them a bit about your story And then, we'll go into the advice. You had a lot of advice on managing finances.
Yeah, thanks, Pawan. Am I audible all of first?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you, Pawan. And if I introduce myself, I'm Paresh Janjamera I'm one of the IMG like you guys do. I'm basically a very old graduate. I graduated way back in 2000, and I did my residency, including neurology residency, and I was like planning for fellowship, and ultimately I'll end up doing residency, and all thanks to Pawan, who really guided me very well during the entire uh, uh, application cycle. He was the one who was standing besides, okay, you got a great chance. Uh, Encouraging all the time, and basically understanding the residents kind of level, and helping to motivate how we can go ahead in our cycle. So yeah, having said that, I did my residency and I was actually planning for fellowship, and I was searching, and then I come across few of the mentors, including Pawan, who encouraged me if I wanted to do a bit longer in USA, it's good idea to start with the residency and then later on to go for fellowship. Uh, so being an older graduate, you tend to have a little less interview because your application gets filtered out by the computer system. They do not pick up your application, and subsequently, if you have something to show upon your application, they will pick it up and believe in me. If your application is taken in the hand, the USMLE the interview preparation advice as well as training is much more than adequate to go through the entire math cycle. And I'm sure those people who have taken this USMLE Sarthi subscription for this interview preparation, they really do very well, because apart from that, you don't have to do a lot of things, including like outreaching the program before as well as after the interview, and what the content of the emails and everything is pretty important. So coming to my finance, if I can share the screen, Pawan, do you allow me
Yes,
to
of
do
course
that?
you can. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here it is. So I have basically prepared. Can people see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is like I have this is from like 2020, I guess 2021 to 2023. And you can see that how all bifurcation can lead to you depending the which stage you are, like USMLE verification fee, offline application $135, notary fee for that stamping, step one fee at that time was 140 plus 160. So first aid fee, $55, you world subscription fee, then NBME. I just took two NBME online and it was like 160, or it would depend directly on how many NBME you do take. Then step two fee, you world subscription, NBME. So this is the basic requirement, and subsequently you go by OET. So OET is like 409 at that point of time. And then I applied for ECFMG certification pathway, which was like $925. And subsequently, I looked back at my profile and I thought USMLE step 3 is very compulsory in my case. So I came over here in USA to attend one of the conferences in neurology, and subsequently at the same time, probably I took my exam also. For that preparation, I subscribed this UWorld CCS cases and master in the board. And you can see there is a whole lot of step fee. Exam fee itself is 900 plus 450. So this is like travel fee as well as staying fee would be around 1,200 to 1,300 depending on what time you come over here. Notary fee for USMLE step 3 certification. Then this is very important, this rotation 1, 2, and 3. So USMLE Sarthi does help a lot in giving us the kind of low budget USMLE rotation. This two I did it from India, tele rotation at that time, just taking the advantage of kind of COVID just getting over, and I did not have believe in me, the vacation as well as the time to go all the way, come across USA for 3 months and stay over here. I'm an old graduate. I was like practicing. I was attending in one of the hospitals in med school. Then ultimately I came for one rotation. Like he was my colleague's friend, and he gave me a little discount for that. And you can see the traveling and staying charges over here was kind of $800 each for 1 month. Then coming to Eras token, and this is one of the thing which I want to highlight. USMLE Sarthi Gold subscription, which I took at that point of time. I would say I was a little bit too late in taking the. I would suggest that if you really want to have kind of all kind of guidance, you take this particularly. Whatever plan you choose, either platinum or gold or silver or whatever, they have got a lot of kind of variation and flexibility in getting the students right. So take this much earlier. Then you can have another like kind of just looking at the program list, match a resident or something like that. Frida is one of the very freebie available. Then actual the large budget is in AMC residency application fee. How many application you want to do? Like I say that if you are doing something, do it by heart, right? So I did not want to miss a single opportunity. If I was like really prepared that okay, I want to do residency now, then I ensured that I applied all those programs which had at least 1% probability of taking the IMG. I did not apply only on those where there was 0% taking the probability of IMG being taken, right? So excluding those, I applied around almost more than 150 neurology programs, 30 internal medicine programs. That was only for the transition. I was very sure that I did not want to apply anywhere apart from this neurology. Then at that time, USMLE transcription fee was 80, NRMP for 70. And so every time you go to your med school college for USMLE step 1, step 2, step 3 verification, ECFMG verification, they will charge certain bucks. And fortunately, converting in India, it wasn't a much like $100, and miscellaneous fee around $500. So I literally landing up paying, including this additional fee of extension of UWorld and everything. My budget at that point of time, the last year until I actually applied, I'm not talking what happened after application and I got selected. It was around $22,000. And this is what I have calculated for upcoming like 2025, 2026. If I go the same thing and if I apply the same rotation which I did, it would different by almost $1,800, right? So I have not calculated. So expected difference is around 2,000 from then and now. It could be around $24,000 before you actually apply. I'm not talking about the outcome of the match result or match cycle. And if you are bonded candidate, say this is like very optional and this is a massive amount. Like I can see that bond fee in Gujarat at present is 40 lakh rupees. That is very immense. So like if it is like very optional, I have not calculated into it. And so if you are planning to apply for any USMLE math cycle up to application, if you are also paying the bond in Gujarat, state of India, you be prepared of spending around 70,000 bucks to become a resident in India. And that will be kind of almost equivalent to your 1 year residency salary, including your taxes, not excluding, right? So this is very much the bifurcation. Pawan, do you want me to talk to anything else?
No, this is very great, very, very extensive. Yeah, if you can,
Yeah.
just email me this sheet because I know we'll have a lot of
Okay.
questions on this sheet. But yeah, this was amazing, very, very comprehensive, and I think there it answers almost every questions. But we'll see what students have. But I appreciate your time, Resh. This was
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, hopefully your residency is going well. I mean, you know everything.
Yeah. So now there is no regret. Only the thing that there was some question if the salary is adequate. We are staying with the family. Believe me, like the lifestyle has little bit changed. but it isn't that bad. I mean, you can easily survive even if you have a child and
So
I'm talking about
maybe talk
non-working
a
or
bit
dependent side.
about, many old YOGs come with families, right?
Mhm.
So maybe you can talk briefly about how, along with family and kids, how do you manage
So
all of this?
So one thing was very good about the kids. The school over here is free of cost, right? If you go in the public school in all the state, you don't have to apply for any fees. Like first day my school went to the school and he came back with the iPad in his hand, that saying that okay, I got this iPad for my school for my entire year, right? And the bus comes at the apartment basement and he goes to school, and I you do not have to pay even to the bus fees, right? So that is about your kid. Now depending on your like your spouse, what he or she is at his or her career, depending whether you want to pursue medicine or any engineering field. And it would also depend on which visa are you on. Like if you are J1 visa, then you will immediately get EDA and within few months. If you are an H1B visa and your wife is or your spouse is H4 visa, then you have to wait for a longer period of time to get them eligible for any kind of working scenario. But best way would be, I would like to advise like those who are coming at this career stage, be prepared that your spouse also take some kind of degree over here so that they can kind of do very well in their career on a long run.
Yeah, no, I think that is a very, very important point that a lot of people miss this, that spouse, if even if the spouse is not a physician, if your spouse can get some kind of professional training, some certification, then especially if you are on J1, the J2 work authorization obviously is much easier and it is immediate, right? J2 is work.
Yeah, bearing few months you have to wait for the after application. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, that I think is a good plan. And yes,
So
of course.
if your wife or your spouse is also working, then you will then probably you will have kind of luxurious lifestyle depending on. But within this residency, you can easily actually. I took a car within a 1 month of my arrival over here, right? So that gives a lot of flexibility as an IMG.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Paresh. I don't want to hold you, given how busy you are. Thank you. Much appreciate your time and good luck with the rest of your residency.
Thank you. Thank you, Pawan.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Julie Dongre. But before I go to her, again, there are a lot of students who've been texting me in terms of rotations. So yes, these are some of the new rotations, as you can see on the screen. Um, Definite inpatient component. Some of them are complete inpatient, some of them inpatient, outpatient, as you can see. And they are in all IMG friendly states. They are in the residency hospitals and hospital letterhead LOR. So take a look, go to usmlesarthi.com, click on clinical rotations right here and click on the Sarthi rotations. And Sejal also can put the link. And if you are looking for rotations, all rotations are there. We have more than I think 200 plus rotations, and especially the inpatient ones. With that, let us go to Julie. Julie, let me see if you have access. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. So Julie is our student. So Julie, why don't you introduce yourself, and then, in terms of financials, the challenges you faced and how are you saving for the match?
Uh, Hi, I'm Zuidi. I'm a graduate from India and I have applied for the internal medicine match this year. So, through Sarthi, I opted for the Hackensack combo and the gold match plan. So, the Hackensack combo includes 3 hands on rotations, 1 tele rotation, and 2 concept to public research projects, usually an abstract and a paper and a poster or oral presentation. However, I requested the Sarthi team to upgrade me to a manuscript. So then they changed part of my plan and I paid the deficit. So I think Sarthi has been instrumental in helping me plan my timeline. They provided me with the resources necessary for accommodations. They helped me plan my expenses and, space them out, usually through the use of installments. And then accordingly, I used to make my travel plans. Speaking of the unique financial challenges that I faced, I think I should shed light on two. First is how important it is to have funds ready at hand or in the bank. This is because in India, especially, but in most other countries, banks do not give any kind of educational loans at such short notice and for these kinds of educational commitments. So you might have to apply for a personal loan rather than an educational loan, but the disadvantage is that interest rates are much higher for personal loans. Also, the terms which are mentioned in a personal loan are not conducive to the timeline of a student who has applied for the match. So it's better to sketch out a plan and have clear directives in place about when and how much funds will be needed. The second challenge I faced is this constant fluctuation in the conversion rates. I mean, you can never predict how much money you will need. If you plan today, you cannot predict how much you will need like a year down the line. So you have to keep these conversion rates and their fluctuations in mind and have a fail safe in place, because you never know when you might fall short of something for an acute or a emergent need. So I think my recommendation would be that you start systematically planning from the first year of med school itself if you've made the decision to take this path. If you do so, then you'll be able to allot funds for the USMLE steps, the prep, rotations, research projects, and finally the maths itself in a stepwise manner. So this will not cause any cause of financial burden, because you have to accumulate a large amount of fund in a short amount of time. What I would recommend is you make a spreadsheet or a table. First, specify the different expenses that are expected to crop up. Then specify the funds that have to be allotted to that expense. The doctor who spoke previously was an excellent example. I made a very similar spreadsheet and I slotted everything into, when what is needed. Then I wrote the conversion rate at the time. And then as and when the conversion rate changed, I kept modifying it. When I did this, I had a very accurate estimate of what I would need at any given point in time. Also, I think you should plan to keep funds aside for your visa application, air tickets, and living expenses. A lot of my friends made this mistake. I did too. I never took into consideration the budget that would go into the air tickets, travel insurance if needed, and then in general, the living expenses when you're doing a rotation or research project. So that is one thing that most people forget to take as part of their budget. In addition, I think if your specialty is confirmed, you should have a tentative list of programs ready. Once you know the number of programs you want to apply to, you can calculate the projected cost. Like this year, IRAS application was like $11 per application for the first 30, followed by $30 each for every program thereafter. And this amount remains more or less constant throughout the years. That doesn't change. So once you have like a minimum number of programs in mind, you can estimate the cost that is going to come with the IRAS application and keep those funds in place accordingly. If you haven't already started planning, you should begin now. First with the steps and then every step forward from there. In me personally, I started this planning in the later half of my internship year, and I think it was a little late. I should have started a little prior to that so that when I needed the funds, I was ready. Now, overall expenses, most of the speakers before me have given you estimate, but I think from my experience, I'll throw some ballpark figures. USMLE steps and pathway fees around 4,000 to 5,000. Rotations and research, it's a range from 10,000 to 15,000, depending upon the number of in-person rotations, number of tele-rotations, type of research project you do. I think on an average, I spend around $12,000 on both research and rotations. Match plan, 2,000 to 3,000. This obviously depends on whether you choose the platinum, the gold, the bronze, or the turbo plan. IRAS application, $165 for the token. And then considering the number of programs, for example, if you apply for 150 programs, keep funds aside of approximately $4,000. This obviously includes the one-time $80 fee for the transcript. However, if you're going to apply for more programs, including those of your backup specialty, preliminary, and transitional year programs, then 7,000 to 8,000 is a good goal. Then there is the NRMP registration fee, which is $70. Then the visa fees for this year, I think the B1, B2 visa fees is $185. Also, remember to apply for your visa in advance, especially in India, because the waiting line is big, long. It's never ending. Other expenses include air tickets, travel insurance, accommodation costs, food, local transport, and every accommodation that you take at the rotation site, it is approximately $1,000 to $1,200 per month, depending on the locality. And Sarthi will help you choose an accommodation close to the hospital you rotate in. So you will be able to save on travel expenses by either walking to the site, using public transport, or in most cases, you share a cab with the other housemates because they are doing the same rotation. This is what happened in 3 of my rotations. When I was rotating in Hackensack, I was living in a house with 6 others, all of whom were doing the same rotation. So because we were sharing a cab, it actually turned out to be very comfortable and very cheap. My second rotation at St. Mary's, I was walking distance. I didn't spend any money on transport. I think in total, considering the number of rotations you do, the match plan you take, and other expenses, I think a $25,000 budget is minimum. Depending on research projects, it plus minus $2,000, $3,000, but $25,000 is a good ballpark figure to have in mind for most students who are beginning this journey. Thank you.
Just to summarize, really, so right from planning, so planning is most important. I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
Plan every step, and then from the USMLE exams plus pathway is around $5,000. Rotations plus research could be between 10 to 15,000, but all put together, including air tickets and stay, etc., between $25,000 to $30,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Really much appreciate. Again, very, very crisp, very concise, and detailed analysis of the costs. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we are open to questions. I'm here if you have any questions, so let me know. And as Sejal and Aditi have been posting, you can set up time with us for a free profile review if you're going into the match this season, or if you have questions about rotations and research. So they posted the link. Go to this link, set up time, and it's free, of course. So if you need more information about planning your journey, rotations, research that we offer, you can all do that. In fact, what she also mentioned really was something I had forgotten, which is our combo plan. So like she did a plan where she got 3 on-site rotations and I think a tele-rotation, 2 research projects and the match plan. So research, rotations, and match put together, the combo plan can also save you a lot of money. But let me just stop here and see if you have any questions. I'm here and you can ask questions. Anything you can put in the chat box. There are a lot of links. So if you're looking for rotations, research, or match, like I mentioned, the match plan is offering discounts for a limited time. I think 27th of this month, platinum, gold, and bronze. So go to that. Several rotations are offering discounts. So again, cost saving if you are applying for the match in the upcoming season and planning for all of this. And like I said, we have introduced a lot of inpatient rotations. So at least 12 inpatient rotations. If just coming out this season, that can help you all. Okay. So with that, let me see if there are any questions. And I do want to thank all my panelists. So thank you, everyone, for joining. But if there are any questions, let me know. We will keep the chat open so that you can grab the link, and I will be there to answer. Meanwhile, do subscribe to our YouTube. I think that is another channel that gives a lot of information. So, Sejal or Aditi, if you can post link to our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram again. A lot of this will be there on Instagram. And the other thing which I should mention is the research. So, like a lot of panelists have mentioned, research is important after you do your rotations, and research batches are starting. So, if you go to our website, there are 3 kinds of research courses: concept to publication, rapid affordable research, and innovative research, residency research. They're all 3 different types. The cost varies, and the outcomes also vary. So let me just give you a bit of an idea about these 3 research projects that are starting right now. In fact, the start date may be there, and Sejal can post it. So, concept to publication, rapid affordable research, and innovative residency research. So, the innovative residency research actually gives you an LOR along with the publication. So that's the important part of this research. This is by a scientist, Dr. Basu Ray, who used to teach at Harvard. So he is willing to offer even a research LOR along with publications, of course. And then, of course, you can see there are a lot of other research options. So, concept to publication, this is by a Hackensack faculty, Dr. Weissman, and he offers manuscripts and abstracts. So, he has affiliation with Hackensack, and you can go to this page and look at the various combos, either triple play, which is a combination, or either a poster, abstract, or manuscript. And then, of course, we do have a rapid affordable research right here. If you go to Sarthi page, services, research, and rapid affordable research, this is by Dr. Shreya Diogre, who is our collaborator, and she's offering 3 plans, so you can take a look at those plans also. So the classes for all of these are starting in late December. Again, many of them are offering discounts. So IRR is offering $200. Rapid affordable research also offering discounts. So with that, let me know if there are other questions. Otherwise, have a good weekend. If you have any other questions, concerns, set up time with us for your rotations, research, and math plan. And hopefully this was a useful webinar to you. Thank you, and I'll see you later.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.